Hey everybody! Welcome back to the Tea Lounge with Miss J. Of course, you guys know I'm your hostess with the mostest, Miss J, aka Miss Simone Jackson, here to bring you guys another great episode of the Tea Lounge with Miss J. Of course, you guys know we are a celebrity-based podcast show where we have guests and interviews where we talk about different various of subjects and topics. I'm super excited to be introducing you guys to my next guest of the day. He is a director, a video editor, and a filmmaker. Everyone, please give a super warm welcome to Matt Alonzo. Hi, Matt.
Hey, how are you?
How are you? Thank you
I
for
am.
joining in on with us today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, I'm really excited to be speaking with you. I appreciate you giving me your time. I know you are a very, very busy man, so I'm gonna go ahead and fire off the first question at you, Mr. Matt. What began your passion for directing?
Well, my passion began at a very young age, and it just happened by chance. My parents had me at a very young age. They were teenagers, 17 and 18 years old, and my dad just decided that he wanted to document our youth and us growing up. So he saved his money and bought an old VHS camera, and he had that thing in my face every single morning, night. As soon as he got off of work, it was just all about filming us. I mean, no matter what we were doing, we could just be at the park running around and he'd be filming it. And at first I didn't like it, but then I think I realized the watching it, seeing it on TV, I thought I was on TV, but then seeing my parents' reaction as well. Uh, I think I figured out that you could kind of, make people happy or change people's emotions with film or with this device, I guess. And so by about, I don't know, 10 or 11, I was shooting and editing little projects by myself with the camera. And then from there it just grew. And I played football in high school, but I'm 5'5" on a good day. So there was really nothing past high school for me as far as football wise. So filmmaking was my other passion, and I decided to just dive into it full throttle when my parents refinanced the house to send me to college, to film school. So that kind of made the decision for me as far as locking down my priorities and making it the top thing in my life, just because of what my parents had sacrificed at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's kind of how the evolution of of me as a filmmaker happened.
That's incredible. That is an absolute incredible. I love that 555 on a good day.
On a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
day, yeah.
In my head, I'm like 6'1" on a good day, but in reality, I'm 5'3". So totally, yeah, I totally understand you on that one. It's just
Yeah,
in
yeah,
my mind, I'm
I
six
mean,
foot
for
one.
me as a football player, I pretty much knew right away that that was not gonna do anything. So,
Right,
I mean, I was good in
right.
high school, but I mean that was about it. But that's all I really did. That was what I played football since I was 7, and I've been making films since I was around the same age. So
Hmm.
it was one or the other that was you know gonna be followed. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kind of going on to the number two question. You have worked with an array of incredible artists from the late great Nipsey Hussle to even Justin Bieber. What's been your most proud work so far that you've done?
um, I mean, it's really hard to say. I think I think for me it was more so, if anything, that I'm proud of is just the ability to see long term fulfillment, I guess, as opposed
Hmm.
to short term gratification. So being able to like stay the course on something that you necessarily can't see or touch, it's not tangible. Um, I think one of the biggest moments in my life were two things. One, going to Iraq with Exhibit and visiting the
Wow.
troops over there. Yeah, we went for about 2 weeks. Black Hawks. I mean, we were fully with the troops and landing in different
Wow.
bases. And I documented the entire experience as well as hung out with the troops. So that was life changing. And then my,
Yeah.
my experience with Nipsey Hussle, going 2 weeks with him in Europe, and documenting his touring over there. I wasn't familiar with Nipsey Hussle at all. Actually, as I jumped on the plane coming off of another set, I was with DJ Ski at the time, and Ski was like, "Yo, listen to the Marathon Continues. You need to know this guy before you land." And so I'm like, "Okay, well, no problem." And so I listened to the whole tape a few times, and I was blown away just by his inspiration, his motivation, and what he was saying to the youth. But then meeting him and being around his aura was just, it was something special, and he was just such a positive influence for me.
Hmm.
I came back and I told my dad about him, and even when he passed, my dad called me immediately, and he was the one to actually tell me about it. But that's how much of an impact he had. Where my dad knew that he was somebody important in my life that he
Absolutely.
called. So those are two things that I'm really proud of as far as experience and the work that came out of them. But overall, I think just being able to have the fortitude to withstand some of the ups and downs within this industry has been one of the bigger achievements of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And that has got to be really incredible to be able to just, you and Exhibit go to see the troops.
Oh man,
That
yeah.
is, yeah, yeah. And I have to say, Exhibit is a name I haven't heard in a very long time. So,
Yeah. It was a while ago, and at the time we had done like four. I've done about 10 videos for Exhibit, and I don't like to fly very much. I just don't. I mean, I've traveled all around the world, and I just don't like to fly. So, but he didn't really care. He called me, said he didn't ask me. He just told me I was going to pack my bags, and we were in Blackhawks, and but once being around the troops at the time and everybody armed forces over there, seeing how relaxed they were and how just it was just a casual drive, a Black Hawk with a machine gun hanging out of the side of it was just a casual ride for them. We felt more relaxed, but it was intense. It was definitely intense.
yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. I totally have to agree with you. I am not big on flying either. It's just if we flying like maybe flying for an hour or two, that's fine. But when you're talking to me, especially to me personally, going over 4 or 5 hours on a flight, yeah, that's a little bit
Oh,
too
yeah,
much.
that and that's not even bad. I think the flights are because we flew into Kuwait, so I think that flight was like 14 hours or something like that.
Ooh, ooh, yeah. For me, you're gonna have to knock me out because I'm gonna have so much to say
Oh
during that
yeah.
14-hour flight. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna have a lot to say.
Yeah, it was tough. It was definitely, but like I said, the experience was it's life changing and once in a lifetime as well. So I couldn't. He was like, "There's no way." At first, I told him, "No, I'm not going," and then he was like, he's like, "I didn't ask you if you're going or not."
That's the truth. He didn't really.
Which I
Technically, he didn't
appreciate.
ask.
Yeah, which I sincerely appreciate because I might have been stubborn or scared enough to say no at the time. So he was looking out for my best interest overall, and he knew, as being my senior, that hey, that like this is a once in a lifetime thing. You're not saying no to this, so I sincerely appreciate that. And I found out a lot about him. We had a lot of time to talk and hang out. Him and Nipsey, because I stayed with Nipsey in his room. It was just me and Nipsey, and then his manager at the time. So it was just us three, and so we stayed together and partied and talked about life and just hung out. I mean, all for 2 weeks. So both of those experiences were great.
Wow, that has got to be just a game changer. That would be wow, like legends, just hanging out with legends. That's incredible.
Yeah,
It
it was,
really is.
and just their insight on, I think a lot of people get kind of, at least nowadays, they kind of get caught up on maybe their craft, and it's really no matter the craft or the career path or whatever it is that you're doing, it's more so about being a good person in life in general. And both of these guys had a ton of knowledge that they put on me, so they definitely shaped me as a young man coming up.
Hmm.
So.
Absolutely, absolutely. Going on to the number three there question, Matt. What would you say is the most difficult aspect of being a director?
The most difficult aspect of being a director, well, there's a couple of them, I think. One of them being right now, the way that the climate is, all the artists or management or somebody within the camp thinks they're a director. So you have a lot of cooks in the kitchen, which is really tough, especially if you have a vision as a director. And then you have, the artist who wants some things or the management who wants some things. It's really, really challenging. As you can imagine, it's the same. I would equate it to an artist being in the studio and then the director coming in and telling the artist what bars to rap, or oh no, change this word or change this melody. It just doesn't really. It's very hard.
Hmm.
It's because it's our art, and I understand, at least me personally, I understand that I am making something for them. They are the client, and at the end of the day, it's an advertisement for them, not for me. So, but at the same time, I still want to create a vision for that artist and be able to control it in most of the capacity. I don't want to be
Right.
a control freak, but when you have people coming in and saying, "Oh no, this or that, or let's do this," changing things last minute, it's tough. I know it's part of the game, but as this going on my 13th year directing professionally out here,
Ow.
it's become more of a problem as far as how many cooks are in the kitchen and what they want to say. So I would say that's a really big one because sometimes some of the younger kids don't even get to actually fulfill their vision because the management or everything want it done
Right.
this way so it can be cheaper or this or that. Oh, I'll get the Airbnb and this and it's just really hard to stay creative with that sort of mentality. And then another thing is just being able to, like I said earlier, have the fortitude to be able to see through the downs, because as an artist, like, your life is a roller coaster, and that's kind of what you sign up for.
Yeah.
You're going against the grain. You're going against. You're basically saying, no, I don't want a steady life. I don't want to just be on an even keel. As a 9 to 5 um, lifestyle would more bring than ours. So there's a lot of highs, but there's equally as much, if not more, lows, and you have to just be able to understand that you don't get too high and don't get too low when either of those times come, because they're gonna fade just as fast as they come. So
Hmm.
you have to just have the mindset and the vision in your mind to be able to push through those low days or those low times, and understand that this is not going to last for a long time, which is really hard. And I think there's a lot of there's a lot more talented directors out there than actually ever get an opportunity, because they don't actually have the fortitude to make it through those,
Hmm.
and the resilience to make it through those times, and so they give up a little early, and it could have just been around the corner. So that's a really tough challenge, you know. And I think as a creative, you're a little bit more tapped into your emotions, because that's what you're using for fuel. So maybe we are a little bit more emotional, so we feel it a little bit more, I think, than most people. So it could be challenging for some people, and it's been challenging for me. I can't lie. It's just, but now I understand that, Exhibit told me when I was in Iraq that, you're going to go up, you're going to go down, you're going to go up a few more times, you're going to go down a few more times. Like, don't worry about it. Just, you know, just stay consistent, stay persistent, and
Hmm.
just keep on going, because, you just enjoy the ride, like, it's not going to change. A lot of people think like, oh, if I get this, then my life's going to be better, or this or that. But it just, it's all part of the ride.
Yeah.
So
Totally agree with that. Absolutely. I hope my audience is taking all that in. That's some good knowledge right there. That's some really good knowledge. Take that in. Going on to the number 4 question is, like I said, you worked with so many different artists. Is there an artist that you would like to work with that you haven't yet?
Oh, there's a few artists that I would definitely like to work with. I mean, someone like an Ed Sheeran would be wonderful.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yes,
I'm a big vocal guy. Like, I mean, I love rap, I love hip hop, but I really love. I'm more of a '90s R&B guy, to be honest with you.
yes.
That's where my heart lies. So even like a Donnell Jones, although he's not a huge artist, I would still love to. He's a legend.
You're making me so
So
happy right
there's
now.
art. Yeah, artists like that. Caleb Scott. There's just people with voices that are. Even if Craig David came out with a banger, I'd be down. Like, it's just. I'm pretty open, and I'm pretty flexible. But I mean, Ed Sheeran is somebody I would actually absolutely love to shoot with, and just people with talents that are from a wider range than kind of, sometimes I get pigeonholed, or sometimes people think that I only shoot hip hop videos, or
Right.
certain styles. So. Um, but anybody who wants to be creative as well. I love artists like, Hobson and Tyler the Creator, people like that, and Odd Future, who even Game. He was great on allowing me to be creative and kind of do what I want, and push the boundaries. So anybody who's going to be able to allow me to do things that creatively maybe others won't, I'm definitely all for them.
Yes, and I love it. Huge Ed Sheeran fan over here, and of course, I'm a huge '90s R&B.
Oh yeah, that's where it's
Yes,
at. That's where it's
Craig
at right there.
David, Darnell Jones. Oh my gosh,
Jodeci,
yes,
Casey. I mean,
Joe.
everybody.
The
Come
list
on. Oh
goes.
yeah, no, Joe's amazing. Joe still has records that come out that I'm blown away by. He came out
Yep.
with a ballad a couple of years ago, and I was in an Uber, and I was listening. I was like, oh my gosh, he's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what my parents were listening to. Since like I
mhm.
said, they were so young. So when I was like 8, they were I don't know, 25 or 24. So they were youngsters. You know, Bobby Brown, New Edition. I went to 2
Yes.
New Edition concerts when I was in the belly. So I think I had the vibes coming out already. You know.
That is adorable. You were already set up even in the womb.
Yep.
He was. That's awesome. That is awesome. I love it. I hope I love it when people bring back that classic '90s R&B sound and
Oh yeah.
feel it. Just it's like it's bringing me back to my childhood when I was raised on. Just yes.
Yeah, no,
Ah,
it's a beautiful thing. I mean, unfortunately, now with just the climate and the way, you know, I mean, look at Megan Thee Stallion's new record. It's really hard to sing the old school R&B lyrics to a woman that has a WAP. Like the lyrics have changed. You know what I mean? Even though the
mhm.
ballads, you know, the ballads are still being made. They're just not being. They're not being. It's like you know, what you would call it. People are talking about cheating or talking about this or that. It's not talking about "I'll love you for life" anymore. You know, it's a
Right.
different climate. Well, I mean, it's also a different climate because a guy can't be singing to a woman who wants to go sleep around and do whatever. So it's just kind of different now, you know. So at least the old sound, you know, is actually starting to make a big comeback. You're hearing everybody sample all the old school records, so that's cool. But I don't know if we'll ever get those love lyrics again. I just don't know.
We might. I never say give up hope. We
No, I
might.
never give up hope. I never give up hope. But yeah, I'm just looking at the climate and where it's going and the trends that are taking place. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
We'll see. We will definitely see. All right, going on to the number 5 question, Mr. Alonzo. I want to make sure my audience keeps up with you and your work. Where are you on social media?
My social media, everything is Matt Alonzo at Matt Alonzo, MATTALONZO, mattalonzo.com, Twitter, everything is Matt Alonzo. So I've pretty much branded myself as Matt Alonzo, which is my birth name, and I've created all my social media accounts and everything on the internet to follow that.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Everyone, make sure you go ahead and get Matt Alonzo a follow and keep up with
Yeah,
his amazing,
please,
amazing work he's got.
please,
He
please,
said,
please,
please.
please,
He's
please.
insisting, please. Going on to the number 6 question. Any future projects that you're involved with that you can just give a little dish about to the T-Lines?
So future projects right now. I mean, for the moment, to be honest, I just finished up a few, I don't know, 4 or 5 videos while the pandemic was going on. So I'm kind of just taking a little break to regroup and just kind of structure my other things in my life and get a routine going and just kind of lay my cards out and figure out exactly where I want to go and transition into this next stage of my life. I think everything that's going on kind of put me in a position to reevaluate, both good and bad. Obviously staying busy and keeping things moving is great, but at the same time, sometimes you need to be able to take a break, take a step back, and regroup, and then figure out where you want to go from here or there. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And I mean, if anything, I just know that I need to start shooting more narrative based things. I mean, music videos are great; they're never going to stop. I'll never stop shooting them, and they never stop coming. But I definitely just need to grow and venture out as a creative. But yeah, right now I'm just kind of trying to see the family and getting things situated, um, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kind of going on with that a little bit more, that was going on to my number 8 question. Um, I was reading that you are looking to work on some feature films. If you ever get a chance to do that, what type of stories will you hope to tell?
Well, so I was with ICM for a long time. I was with ICM for um, about 5 years. I was with ICM. I was with the ICM for about 5 years as a feature film director. They repped me, and so I went in for a lot of movies, a lot of scripts. I was up for like Safe House, things like that. And
Oh, wow.
at the time, yeah, I was really young. I was young, and they actually Fly Like a G6. That music video is the one that caught the eye of an agent over there, and
No way.
he signed me. And that video was a $10,000 video shot on a little Canon 70 camera. So it's surprising on how things move. But at the time, I was really influenced by like a movie like Crash, or I was really into, which I still am. I'm very big on psychology, and I'm very big on just the human emotion and how our lives are basically, I wouldn't say controlled, but are influenced by our emotions. And I like to use those to tell stories to to inspire, to change people's lives. And the movie like Crash changed my life. I had no idea what it was. I actually saw it at a $2 theater, and from that moment on, I wanted to tell these really deep stories. But as I came out here and I started, working with ICM, I realized that for a movie like that, for a movie with a heavy story, Fruitville, like, something that's really heavy, you're going to need really good actors. And
Yes.
it's really hard for a first time director to get these, to one, find a great script that has that sort of narrative, and then two, to be able to, attach certain talent to it. So then I started really looking at my style, and my style is more flashy, more stylistic, just has a lot of edge to it. So I really started going with more of a, I wouldn't say horror, but like a psychological thriller, um, like um, like a Saw meets The Ring meets like Crash or
Ooh.
something. So something where, I can use all my filmmaking abilities, my talents there, and my editing style, and still have a, somewhat uh, somewhat deep story. But I know, as a feature filmmaker, your job and your priority is to make the studio money. So um horror films are the number one selling and rented, most watched, genre out there. So that's something that I think fits my style as well. So that'd be more what I'm looking for, at least for my first movie, so I could make the studio money, and then they would allow me a second movie, and then from there, who knows where it could go.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I am be more interested to see, what you can actually do with that. Where it actually could go, as you said, get you the
Yeah.
right crop of actors, get you the right setting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, when I was actually at ICM, I had pretty much offers for, at the time, Fast and the Furious wasn't what it is now, and so they wanted me, I think, for Tokyo Drift or something, and then they were ready to go with that, and my agent said no, and there was a couple other movies that had like rappers in them, and my agent said no, just because I was already known as it, like, he didn't want me to have that as a first film, and I thought that was really smart of him. So I know that my first film is going to go as far away from the music video genre as possible, so that I can make my stamp on films and not be kind of pigeonholed as just a music video director or a guy who shoots movies with musical artists or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's definitely going to happen for you. And I cannot wait to see what type
I
of
appreciate that. Thank
project that is going to be. It's going to be exciting. So, for sure, I definitely know that. Going on to the last few questions that we have.
you. Yes, let's do it.
Um, what are some of your passions outside of directing?
Oh, passions outside of directing, ladies. um,
Well, that
yeah.
would be a passion now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I enjoy the company of you know of you beautiful women. But also, for me, I think anything that's going to relieve my stress. I found boxing to be one thing that I thoroughly enjoy. So
Yeah.
I try I really try to take out physically as much energy as I possibly can, so that because some nights my mind just goes, and I try to just relieve as much stress and as much anxiety, as much of this energy that I have, and things that I can do that are physical. So boxing is a great thing for me, and then spending time with my family is always high on my priority list. But other than that, it's pretty much it. I mean, it just so happened to be that my hobby was filmmaking my whole entire life, and then I was able to transition that hobby into a career. So I still love it the same as a hobby. So, if I'm not directing something or editing something that's for a specific job, then I'm probably doing editing or shooting something else for myself. But I do have those times. I mean, right now it's really hard to even go outside. So
Right.
um, so it's a little bit tougher, and all the gyms being closed and things like that. But those are my passions outside of outside of filmmaking, and just being around my friends and being around good people, and helping out wherever I can.
Absolutely. Love it. Love it. All right, Mr. Bad, we got one last question for you.
Let's do it.
Any advice for aspiring directors, music directors who are hoping to be just as successful as you are?
Hmm. Well, first thing, my advice for anybody out there, who wants to get into filmmaking and would be to be more successful than me. I always want the younger generation to exceed, um, where I've been, because that's always the hope, and you wish for that for other people. I think there's a few things that I could give you as far as advice. Number one is don't get caught up into social media. Don't get caught up into
Yes.
um, things like that. I mean, there was a time in my life where it was really challenging for me. Music videos were coming in; they were easy at the time. I mean, they were easy for me to do. I was signed to ICM, and I was just really scared to shoot a movie. I was scared of failing. So, what I did was I used social media with all my music videos to basically, give me this sense of fulfillment and and give me the verification that I was progressing, although I was not really chasing what I needing needed to do in my mind and in my heart, because it was going to be more challenging, and it was really easy to
Hmm.
get these thousand likes and comments and kind of use that to boost my self-esteem, and it led nowhere. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously everyone's going to have their own stages of that, but just don't get caught up in that, because I mean, yes, it does bring in jobs and it brings in an opportunity, and use it as a marketing tool. Don't use it for validation. Do that on your own. And number two would be to just have a vision of where you want to go. Now, when I say a vision, it's not just like, well, I want to direct a music video for, some artist. It's you need, what happens after you direct that video, and maybe you even do that video for free because, or you very very low because you want that exposure. So you didn't make any money, and now you've done it, but where do you go from here? So have more of a vision in your life of where you want to be in 10 years or 5 years, and then work your way backwards to where you're at today, and then be able to map it out, so that you can still have, because a lot of people chase the goals, but goals are really just like, really short term achievements. And it's kind of like driving somewhere, driving to San Francisco, and every 50 miles you see like San Francisco is going to be another 200 miles, and now it's 150 miles. That's kind of what goals are. Goals are not the end all be all. So you need to have a large stack of those in there, and then be able to withstand the down times, or the slow times, or the times where you're doing jobs that you don't really like, just to pay the bills. You have to understand that's part of the process, and it's and don't get too caught up in any of that too. You know what I mean? You have to be able to separate your emotions, and find other things to release those, and just continue chasing the end all be all, which is whatever goal you want to have. But those are my things. I would say for young filmmakers, and just go after it, man. Like, you have to give it all. You have to get everything you have. I edit and I shoot 18 hours a day for 12
Ooh.
years, and 7 days a week. It just doesn't. It's not all just fun and games. It's a decision. It's a choice you're making to sacrifice your life for your career. And if you go half half tank full, then you're not going to get very far, because there's other person right next to you driving with a full tank, and he's mashing, and he's going all night nonstop while you're sleeping. So, not that you don't need to stay awake all the time, but you just need to have that persistence and that consistency and understand that it's not an 8-hour job. It's not a 4-hour job. It's not like, your job at KFC. It's going to be completely different. It's going to take everything you have as a person, and it's going to throw at you everything that you've tried to avoid your whole entire life, to really test if you want it. So just understand what's coming, and 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 I wish you all the best.
I love that advice, especially with the don't get caught up in the social media. Totally love that one because that can be easily to do.
Yeah, it's
So,
easy, and you feel like you're moving, and at the end of the day,
yes,
you're really not. You know what I mean? Like, it's great to have all those followers and numbers and everything, but if you don't understand how to transition it, then you're gonna be a person with a huge following, and you're working at Kmart. Which is not. I mean, I'm not saying Kmart's a bad job, but
right.
I'm saying for what you want to do, it's really tough. So make sure you just
Totally
have a plan
understand.
with it all, and you're using it to your advantage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I definitely hope my audience takes that to heart because it's very, very important. All right, Matt, you have been an absolute gem to talk to. I love your clear thinking, your direction. I cannot wait to see where future films will go for you. I can't wait to see that cast, and I can't wait to see which project you'll bring to life. But I do appreciate you, coming in and speaking with me today on the Tea Lounge. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
Yes, of course. I just want to highly encourage my audience one more time. Make sure you give Mr. Matt Alonzo a follow on all social media. Drop a hello, support his work, definitely check it back for more of his work as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
come through. Say what up.
yeah, see, he asked himself, say what's up,
Yep.
and continue to look out for more of his work because I know I will. I cannot wait to see what more you do, Matt. Sky's the limit, and I just cannot wait to see what more projects you bust out.
Thank you. I had a pleasure. Wonderful questions, and I hope everybody enjoyed themselves.
Absolutely. And I hope everyone takes in the advice. I do hope everyone enjoyed listening in today. Of course, you guys know I am your hostess with the mostest, Miss J, aka Miss Simone Jackson. And I will be back with another great episode of the Tea Lounge with Miss J. But until then, I want to thank my guest, Mr. Matt Alonzo, one more time. I want to thank y'all for listening. We'll be back soon. Until then, y'all have a beautiful day. Bye.
Bye.